Good afternoon, Victor Johnson here with Goodwill Columbus Workforce Development. You ever had one of those days? Today's been a little bit like that. I'd like to apologize to you out there. This morning I had some technical difficulties, so the 10 o'clock presentation was a bit late, and I just wanted to apologize for that. Also, last week while I was doing a presentation, I talked about, unconscious bias, and I talked about, unconscious bias against women, and I was talking about the right to vote, and I couldn't remember the year. I am so sorry. The 19th Amendment was ratified in 1920. That's when women got the right to vote. So please excuse me for not remembering that and for this morning. But this afternoon, I have a presentation for you on workplace etiquette. Why? Why are we doing workplace etiquette? Well, I'm going to make my screen here a little bit bigger, and then we'll talk about it. So, workplace etiquette. I always like to start with definitions. Etiquette. Conventional requirements as to social behavior. Conduct as established in any class or community or for any occasion. A prescribed or accepted code of usage in matters of ceremony at court or in official or other formal observances. So think about it. If you're at a wedding, you know how to act. You know you're not going to jump up and start yelling during the ceremony. You know you're not going to start, if your baby's crying a lot, you're going to get up and walk out, and take care of the baby, because you don't want everybody to be distracted by the baby. I mean, the reason for the ceremony is up front, so you don't want to distract people. You're also not going to, yawn loud, use your cell phone, things like that, because you understand the etiquette for the ceremony. And so what you're basically saying is, I understand how to act in this situation. That's etiquette. And in that sense, etiquette is a form of communication. You are telling people you know how to act in this situation. So what do we do in the workplace? What are you communicating in the workplace? In the workplace, etiquette is basically good manners. Do you have good manners? You know what good manners are? I think just about everyone knows what good manners are. So how do you express that in the workplace? Are you courteous? Are you respectful? Are you kind? Do you use empathy? Are good manners part of your brand? Brand? What's this brand thing? Well, okay. Are you known by your brand? Okay, your brand is basically the things that you do that people remember you for. So if you are kind to people and considerate and courteous and friendly and maybe humorous, people remember those things. And that is your brand, okay? Your skills are part of your brand. Your work skills are part of your brand. You are a complete package, and that complete package has a brand on it. Now, you can determine what that brand says, or you can let others determine what the brand says. I go for option A. I'm going to determine what my brand is and what people think about me. So with that in mind, let's play a little game here. A brand, okay? So a little bit more understanding about a brand. So what do we have here? We've got this big cat. We've got 4 rings. We've got an L. We've got some kind of like 3-pointed star. And then we've got 2 flags, okay? But I bet as soon as you saw this pop up on the screen, you knew what it was. You knew what they represented. That's a brand. We've got Mercedes-Benz. That's the three-pointed star. I don't know what to call that. I don't want to call it a triangle, but anyway. That's Mercedes-Benz. And then the four rings together, that's Audi. The L is Lexus. The cat is Jaguar, or Jaguar, as some people say. And then the flags, that's the Chevy Corvette. Now, not only do you, and I bet, except for maybe the Chevy Corvette, you knew these right away. But not only do you know what these brands are, you know what these brands mean. These cars are not just expensive, they're top of the line, okay? When you buy a Corvette, you're buying quality. When you buy an Audi, you buy quality. Why? Because they make sure that they've branded it that way. They make sure that they keep telling people how well they build their cars. And it is borne out when people buy their cars. So not only are they branding themselves, they are true to their brand. So that's my question to you. Are you true to your brand? Are you friendly to people, or do you just act like you're friendly to people? You know, sooner or later, people figure things out. Your smile is your logo. Your personality is your business card. How you leave others feeling after an experience with you becomes your trademark. That's by Jay Danzy. So your trademark. What's another word for trademark? Brand. That's the thing that you leave people with. And then I love this saying that Maya Angelou had. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. That is the key to a brand. How do people feel after they've met you, after they've spent time with you? That's what you want to do. You want a brand so that when someone leaves, they are thinking positively of you. Okay? So in the workplace, you've got you have your brand, which includes kindness and consideration and manners. So in person, we communicate verbally with our words and our tone, and then non-verbally with gestures and body language. And, you know, you can see when somebody's body language is talking to you. You know, if somebody's walking around and their head's down, you know, they may be, you know, you just can see. It seems like they're sad, or maybe they're just thinking about something, or they're melancholy. You know, if somebody's walking around, they've got a big smile on their face, well, they're probably happy, or they're putting on a really good act. But here's the thing. People see gestures, okay? So, you know, when you're saying that you believe someone, but you're making a face like you don't believe them, people are going to take the face, not the words. Other ways that we communicate, okay, if we're not in person, it's usually electronic, just like we are right now. With the phone, with video, with electronically transmitted text, which means text or email. And then our character. We communicate through our character, what we say, what we do, and what we allow. And the question is, are they aligned? Is what you say and what you do clear to other people? Or are they confused because you say one thing and do another? Okay? And then what do you allow? And, you know, I'd like to show this video, but first I'm going to say in person, you know, we got the words and tone, respect, consideration, calmness and politeness, active listening, and then non-verbally, your body expression, your gestures. Okay, so let's watch this little clip.
If your office feels like a sitcom, could be a case of life imitating art. Etiquette expert Thomas Farley is clocking in with the basics of office etiquette.
Since we are working in such close confines and spending so much time, probably more time with our coworkers than we are with our own family members, to think about how your little actions may have ripple effects on the way somebody else is able to work.
And it starts at the top, especially with a brutish boss like Miranda Priestley in The Devil Wears Prada.
So sorry, Miranda. I actually did confirm
Tales of your incompetence do not interest me.
You want to lead by example, not lead by the bad example that the higher-ups are setting for you. But the key really is that common consideration.
Next, if courtesy isn't so common in your office, just be happy you're not with Dwight Schrute in his office.
Do you mind?
So having those conversations about personal hygiene, about personal workplace habits, those I think are best had by people who are actually friendly with one another in the workplace.
I'm sorry, Pam. Allow me to write you an apology letter.
So Dwight can be courteous, but what if you work with someone like Michael Scott?
What do you want to say, Michael?
But when it comes to noise levels in offices, I think you have to realize this is a working office and not a library.
Finally, what happens when work friends fight?
You are not going to solve a misunderstanding with an email. The best way to solve that, pick up the phone. It's the most underused tool in the office, and it will help you cut through so much nonsense.
Yes, boy, have you lost your mind? Because I'll help you find it.
Lesson learned? From the office to your office, mind your manners. That's on the to-do list.
Okay, minding your manners. All right. One of the things that he said is it's an office. Not everybody works in an office, but wherever you work, it's probably, even if it's quiet, it isn't a library, but you don't want to really aggravate people by continually talking to them. And I have an example here of people that are, not using their inside voices.
So you just need a change of address.
Sam, you're still here.
Oh,
I was
okay.
stuck here till 9 o'clock at night.
Oh man, you missed it, didn't you?
I know.
Yes, can you please speak a little louder? I can't hear
Oh,
you.
your cousin told you. That's nothing.
Did
man.
you
heard about
say-
Manny
I don't want
at
to talk
second
about
hour.
it, dude, because I'm going to get off.
Ah.
I said.
Oh man, you heard about
Oh,
the fizz and
931?
Videotaped it.
Of course I taped it. I always tape it, man.
Yeah. You got to bring it.
May I please put you on hold for just one
I
moment?
know.
Thank
I
you.
know.
Pure
And I heard the fifth
poetry.
ending was
Guys.
crazy.
Can you please lower your voices? I'm on the phone with a patient. Thank you.
Jeez, what's her problem?
You know.
Yeah,
I know.
Thank you for holding, Mrs. Jones.
4 to 3.
Yes, can you repeat your address one more time? And I'll enter that for you in the system right away.
Expecting to knock it out of the park. I mean, the guy has been on the bench the whole
Thank you very
season.
much.
Knocks it out.
I
of the
know.
park.
I know.
Have a nice
I know.
day.
Enough already.
Bye-bye.
Enough. Bring me the video.
Yeah, I can bring it
I'm
to
here till I don't know, like 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. Okay, I take
Yeah,
the
yeah.
morning shift, so you're gonna have to. I'm sure just drop it off your desk or something like that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
That's what works
Yeah,
for
you
you.
can give it to. Hey, what's up?
Fellas, please. This is the second time this week that you've had a lot of conversation while I'm on the phone with a patient. I'm not trying to bust your chops, but I'd really like to do my work. So I would really, really appreciate it if you could take it down a notch or maybe go outside next time.
Sure. Sorry.
Thanks. I knew you'd understand.
Okay, so professional speech. Who has control? You're the phone, your inside voice, limiting personal calls and texting. She did something right there that, on the phone, whether it was two people having a loud conversation close to her desk or someone on the phone, on a cell phone having a loud conversation, it's about the same. And what she had to do was ask for them to tone it down. And then she did something else. And this is the part, about character. What do you allow? What do you allow people to do around you? So she could have sat there after she was off the phone and then waited for them to stop talking and just kept doing her work, because eventually they would have left. But that would have let them know that next time they wanted to talk around her, even though she's working, it's okay, because she allowed them to do it the first time or the second time. So, what you say, what you do, what you allow, all these things have to be lined up. And you want to be good in your communication. You don't want to aggravate other people. So That's electronic communication, video. Why are we going over video? Well, a lot of the world is working by video right now. So you want to have a clean background, you want to dress professionally. When you're sending out texts or email, you want to watch your grammar and your spelling. No shortcuts, please. And, have a professional email address. Professional email address is your first name, last name, maybe a number because, my name is Victor Johnson. I'm not the only Victor Johnson in the world. So, Victor Johnson 2011 at gmail.com. So, first name, last name, first initial, last name, that's a professional email address. Okay. All right. So, oops, sorry. Into something else.
We're going to talk about professional. And that's a word we hear about all the time. That's a word we read it. It's everywhere. We use it so often. I wonder if we really.
That was a TED talk that I wasn't trying to have in this presentation. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. So, workplace etiquette by character. Are you true to your brand? I picked these pictures because, even though you don't know these people personally, you can guess what their brand is. Okay. And people will do the same with you. They will guess what your brand is by the way you dress, without even talking to you, by the way, your grooming, and by your posture. So, just keep things right. Are you respectful, truthful, and honest in what you say, what you do? Are you on time? When you say that you work hard, then to work hard, you have to be on time because otherwise you're taking someone else's time or someone else has to do your job for you. What you allow in time, environment, behavior, and thoughts around you. Don't let people gossip around you. That's, and that's one of those things that will just stop production. People gossiping, and then the next thing you know, everybody's talking about the same thing and no work is getting done. So that leads us to diversity in the workplace. To succeed in a diverse workplace, it is important to display respect for all ethnicities, races, cultures, genders, age groups, disabilities, sexual orientations, education levels, and religions. What's that mean? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So that's simple. Diversity in the workplace is important for employees because it builds a great reputation for the company, leading to increased profitability and opportunities for workers. How does diversity lead to increased profitability? Well, let's say your office hires no minorities, and eventually somebody's going to find out about it. And then once they find out about it, if you don't do anything to rectify that, then people may boycott you. They may stop, buying what you're selling. It's happened time and time again. So workplace diversity in a workplace, is important, not just for those relationships, those business relationships, those co-worker relationships, but also to the bottom line. Okay, that's everybody working together increases the bottom line. It increases what people are able to do in a day. And for that reason, if productivity is increased, more product, more profit, it's really up to you. So, got off on a little soapbox a little bit, but how does unconscious bias affect acceptance and respect of diversity? So what is unconscious bias? So, maybe the way you've were brought up, life experience, things you've heard, things you've seen on TV, make you sometimes, let's say, question or assume that you know how someone acts or what someone is doing. That's an unconscious bias. So I'd like to give you a video of unconscious bias. And all of us have an unconscious bias, okay? But what's important is what we do once we realize we have one.
I'm better than you at 2K. I've been playing for longer than you have been alive.
What's
bro.
good?
Play me tonight. Play me tonight, bro.
What's good?
Play me tonight.
What's good? That was seriously.
Monica. You made it.
Of course. I wouldn't miss our victory lunch. We worked our butts off on that project.
Right?
Am I the first?
Mm-hmm. Tim and Sonia just texted. They are on their way.
Great. I want to celebrate everyone's hard work on this project. You guys did such a good job. I really appreciate it.
You bet. I'm just glad we made it.
Can I get you something to drink? Oh, just water for now. But you might want to tell your manager about those guys out front. Kind of intimidating. Maybe have the police move them along or something.
Sure. I'll talk to my manager.
Great.
What are you doing?
What?
Call the police? Over those kids outside?
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but those kids can just hang out on some other street corner.
Oh, I see. You see the tall one out there? That's my son, Michael. We're going shopping for prom clothes right after we're done here.
God, I am so sorry. I just heard on the news that someone was mugged over here.
And you thought my son did it?
No, of course not. God, you don't think that.
You know what I think? I think this celebration is over. Thanks.
Okay, you can tell unconscious bias. And the thing is, what do you do when you realize that you have one? Well, you talk to people, you seek to understand, ask questions, and most of all, just listen to people. What's strange to you, once you get to know it, is no longer strange. So if you don't feel like you understand something, ask questions. And when someone's telling you about something, listen. That's a thing that can help, especially in the workplace when there are different cultures, different ethnicities in the workplace, different ideas in the workplace. So to finish up, to build a productive and collaborative work environment, remember your diversity and inclusion rights, or remember that everyone has the right to work, okay? And then make your place a non-threatening workplace. And how do you do that? Respect, treating people the way you want to be treated, empathy, honesty, respect for authority, respect for others, and respect for yourself. If you can follow those simple tenets, then you will have a much better workplace, and you will be able to enjoy the job that you have. So, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Even on a replay, we can get to these. And we are here for you, and we have programs, and we have right now something I'm going to put on the bottom of the screen. We have free help with the resume. So if you would like an individual session to work on your resume with one of our professionals, you can follow this link, go to that link, and then you can schedule an appointment for free resume help. And that's just one of the many things that we do for you here at Goodwill Columbus. So signing off for this afternoon, I'm Victor Johnson. See you next time.